Caring for your mom isn't a job, stop begging, Evan spat. I'm Harper. That night, I watched my mother wander the hallway while my hands shook from exhaustion and shame that wasn't mine. They called me greedy for asking the family to share costs, but I'm a full-time caregiver with no contract, no days off, and a heart that won't stop racing at 3 a.m. Ever had your love twisted into leverage? If you were me, would you stay quiet to keep the peace or draw a line and demand receipts, schedules, and signatures? I'm about to show you the bills, the plan, and the boundary that saved my sanity. If this hits a nerve, drop a comment and tell me what you'd do, and subscribe so this story finds the next person drowning in family duty. That night, my throat tasted like pennies while I watched Mom shuffle the hallway in her socks, whispering to a childhood friend who died in 1989. Alzheimer's steals in inches and then in chunks. And somewhere between the inches and the chunks, I became a full-time caregiver with 0 days off and a smile people praised as strong. Here's the quiet part no one claps for. Strength feels like drowning slowly in 1 inch of water. When Mom got the diagnosis, my siblings Evan and Claire made a family promise over takeout containers. We'll rotate weekends. We'll cover expenses together. I moved back into the old house, slept on the pullout, and taped color-coded schedules across the fridge. Meds at 9, 1, and 9. Glucose checks. PT on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Lock the back door by 8 p.m. Week 1. Everyone showed up with casseroles and encouragement. Week 2, they were slammed at work. Week 3, the group chat bloomed with heart emojis and cancellations. I was the only one still in the room when Mom woke at 3 a.m., asking where the ocean went. I told her, it's right here, and played her wave sounds on my phone so she'd drift back to sleep. Bills grew legs, adult diapers, Chuck's pads, wound cream, transportation to the neurologist, a shower chair we assembled at midnight. I kept receipts in a shoebox labeled taxes because labeling it my sanity felt too on the nose. I missed one friend's wedding and 2 promotion cycles. My boss said, "We admire your dedication," which is HR for "this is killing your career." The break I begged for never came. I asked the group chat for help. Can we formalize a stipend? Even $150 each per month covers supplies. Evan replied, "Caring for your own mother isn't a side hustle, Harper." Claire added, "Don't make money the issue." I stared at my phone, hearing a door slam in my chest, the one that used to open to grace. If you're watching this and your jaw just clenched, you get it. Love without backup becomes leverage. I stopped sleeping. Every sound was a fire alarm. My hands shook pouring coffee. I realized I was carrying the family's comfort like a yoke, and everyone liked the view. That's when I started documenting everything: time logs, medication charts, mileage to appointments, nights. Mom wandered, nights I cried into a towel so she wouldn't hear. Paper doesn't gasp or argue. It just mirrors the truth back to you. One Sunday, Evan brought bagels and gave me a performance review. "You need to be more patient. Mom senses tension." I said, "Mom senses my body failing." He shrugged. "Then meditate." I looked at Mom, feeding cream cheese to the dog she doesn't remember we never owned, and promised myself, this will not be the story where I break quietly. If you're with me, hit like right now so this video reaches the next Harper who thinks she has to earn permission to rest. The night I finally cracked, I Googled caregiver rights at 2:11 a.m. with one hand while the other kept Mom from wandering out the back door. A forum post said, "Caregiving is a job, get a contract." I booked a consult with an elder law attorney named Mr. Patel, who spoke like a metronome. He said, "Document duties, hours, and pay. Consider a caregiver agreement and respite care. Medicaid planning, if needed. Transparency is kindness." I cried in his office chair like a kid who'd been handed a dictionary to a language she'd been punished for speaking. I went home and wrote the job description I was already doing. Medication administration, transfers and fall prevention, personal care, meal prep and glucose management, appointment scheduling, transportation, sleep monitoring, behavioral documentation, home safety checks, laundry and sanitation, coordination with PTOT, crisis escalation plan. I added a weekly hour target and a modest stipend split 3 ways. Then I printed a budget, what I'd spent in 6 months, alongside links to invoices and time-stamped logs. Paper doesn't flinch when someone calls you greedy. Paper isn't afraid of the word no. Family meeting. I brewed coffee and set out pens like a teacher on the first day of class. Evan walked in late, sunglasses on indoors. Claire came with a latte and a smile that meant, let's be positive. I handed them packets. Evan flipped a page and snorted. Wow, you're invoicing your feelings now? Claire whispered. It's a lot of structure, I said. Structure is what keeps Mom safe and me employed and this house standing. Evan leaned back. You're not a nurse, I said. No, I'm a burning building with arms, and you're lecturing me about smoke alarms. He scoffed. Fine, how much do you want? The way he said want poured gasoline on my shame. I don't want money, I said. I need cost sharing and a respite schedule. 2 weekends a month, or we hire help and split the bill. He looked at Claire. She's turning Mom into a paycheck, Claire murmured. Maybe we can try 1 weekend a month? I slid the logs forward. Read the nights I didn't sleep. Read the falls I caught. Read the miles I drove. If I disappear for 48 hours, this system collapses. Silence. Mom called from the living room. Rosie, where's the ocean? The dog we never had wagged in my head again. I stood, tucked a blanket around Mom, and kissed her forehead. Back at the table, I said, this is my line. Signed agreement or professional care. I won't be the free solution while you pay with emojis. Evan muttered, you're nothing without this martyr act. I felt my cheeks go cold. And you're nothing without someone to exploit, I said, surprising even myself. If this makes you angry, let it. Anger is sometimes just grief with shoes on. Drop a comment. Do caregivers deserve pay from the family budget or mandatory rotation? There's no wrong answer, only transparent ones. Because here's the twist I didn't see coming. Transparency doesn't just expose people, it exposes plans. 2 days after that meeting, I overheard Evan on speaker with a cousin. Just keep Harper on the hook. When Mom's gone, the house will pass to us. She doesn't need a cut, she lived there rent-free. The word us carved a trench through my ribs. Rent-free. I sat on the stairs holding a bag of adult diapers and understood the plan. Let me burn out, then call the ashes gratitude. I called Mr. Patel. He walked me through capacity evaluations, limited guardianship, and the safeguards that keep vulnerable adults and their homes out of opportunistic hands. We scheduled a neutral geriatric assessment. Mom qualified for limited decision support. I filed a petition for guardianship limited to healthcare and safety decisions, not finances. We also drafted a family caregiving agreement. Hours, tasks, pay rate benchmarked to our state average, and a rotating respite calendar with penalties if people no-show. Finally, we added a clause. Any sale, transfer, or encumbrance of the house requires unanimous written consent and attorney review. Family meeting, round 2. I was steady. Claire looked scared. Evan rolled his eyes. I laid out the documents. This protects Mom, me, and you. It removes the guesswork and the gossip. It respects the law. Evan barked. You're turning Mom into a hostage, I said. No, I'm releasing her from chaos, he slammed the table. Over my dead body. Mr. Patel, calm as rainfall, said, over the judge's stamped order. Claire squeezed her cup. I'll sign. Evan stood. I'm not signing a penny to pay you. I nodded. Then you're committing to 2 weekends a month and Tuesday nights. If you fail, you cover respite. He laughed. Try me. We did. The first month, he no-showed twice. Respite invoices hit his inbox. He called me a thief. Paper called him accountable. The house changed temperature. With respite, I slept real sleep, the kind without sirens. Mom's PT improved because I wasn't a zombie. Claire started showing up, awkward at first, then competent, then proud. Evan fought, then complied, then disappeared for a while. Fine. The system didn't break, it adjusted. I kept the shoebox of receipts, now a labeled binder. The shame I'd been carrying slid off its hanger because it had never been my coat. One evening, Mom and I watched a video of the ocean. She whispered, "Beautiful," like the shoreline was a secret. I realized the goal had never been to win a family war. It was to build a family infrastructure. Boundaries aren't punishments, they're scaffolding. Accountability isn't cruelty, it's grown-up love. If you've listened this far, here's your takeaway. Write it down. Put prices on invisible labor. Make a rotation and enforce it with receipts, not resentment. And if anyone says, "You're nothing without us," tell them, "No, I'm nothing without sleep, and I'm getting some tonight." If this story hit a nerve, like the video so the algorithm carries it to the next caregiver in a quiet kitchen at 2 a.m., share it with a sibling who means well but forgets. Comment how your family made it fair or didn't, because humiliation in silence is how abusers win, and transparency with teeth is how we stop losing. And to Evan, wherever you're doom scrolling, I'm not begging, I'm budgeting. For Mom's safety, for my future, for a family that doesn't require a martyr to function. Here's where I landed. I fought for a contract, a rotation, and the right to sleep without setting an alarm for fear. I still wake at odd hours, listening for footsteps that aren't there, but the house is calmer. Mom is safer, and my shoulders don't live up by my ears anymore. People keep asking, am I in the wrong? For asking my family to share costs? For insisting on receipts instead of promises? If that's wrong, I can carry it. What I learned, love without structure curdles into leverage. Boundaries are not walls, they're railings. And accountability, said kindly, is still accountability. I also learned I'm allowed to need help before I collapse. If this stirred anything in you, take one tiny step tonight. Write down one boundary, one number, one person you'll call. Then tell me in the comments what fairness looks like in your family. Share this with a caregiver who's one sleepless week from breaking. And subscribe if you want templates, scripts, and calm, practical next steps. However you found me, I'm glad you did. You're not difficult, you're tired. And tired people deserve systems that let them rest. I'm rooting for you from this quiet kitchen.